Lost in the wilderness. David had always loved nature. He spent his weekends hiking through forests and mountains, enjoying the fresh air and peaceful surroundings. One day, he decided to take a solo trip into Blackwood National Park, a vast wilderness known for its deep forests, rivers, and wildlife. Before leaving, David packed his backpack carefully. He brought food, water, a map, a compass, a flashlight, a small knife, and a first aid kit. He also carried his phone, but he knew that the park had little to no signal. This will be an amazing adventure, he thought as he stepped into the forest. The first few hours were perfect. The sun shone through the trees, birds sang in the distance, and the air smelled fresh and clean. David followed the trail, stopping occasionally to take pictures and admire the beauty around him. By noon, he reached a small river. He sat down, ate a sandwich, and drank some water. Looking at his map, he decided to take a shortcut through the forest to reach a beautiful lake before sunset. This will save me a few hours, he thought. David folded the map, put it in his pocket, and stepped off the trail. At first, everything seemed fine. David walked confidently through the trees, following the direction he thought was correct. But after an hour, he started to feel uneasy. The trees looked the same in every direction. He checked his map, but he couldn't recognize any landmarks. Worse, when he took out his compass, he realized he had dropped it somewhere along the way. I should go back, he thought. But when he turned around, he wasn't sure which way to go. He took out his phone. No signal. His heart began to race. Stay calm, he told himself. I'll just retrace my steps. David walked in the direction he thought he had come from, but after another hour he was even more lost. The sun was now lower in the sky. The forest felt darker and colder. Okay, I need to stop and think, he muttered. He remembered something he had read about survival. When lost, stay in one place and build a shelter. David found a small clearing between the trees. He decided to make his camp there. Using fallen branches and leaves, he built a simple shelter to protect himself from the cold night. His stomach growled. He had food, but he needed to save it. Instead, he drank a little water and tried to rest. The night was long and frightening. Strange animal sounds echoed in the distance. The wind rustled the trees. Every little noise made David jump. This is just one night, he whispered to himself. I'll find my way back tomorrow. At sunrise, David woke up cold and tired. He ate a small piece of bread and drank some water. Today, I have to find a way out, he decided. He remembered another survival tip. Follow a river or stream. It usually leads to civilization. He remembered another survival tip. Follow a river or stream. It usually leads to civilization. David listened carefully and heard the faint sound of water. He walked toward the sound and soon found a small stream. Excited, he followed the stream, hoping it would lead him to safety. Walking along the stream was easier than moving through thick trees, but the journey was not simple. At one point, David heard a rustling noise behind him. He turned around and saw a bear in the distance. His heart pounded. Don't run. Stay calm, he remembered. Slowly, he backed away, avoiding eye contact with the bear. After a few tense moments, the bear lost interest and walked away. David sighed in relief and continued his journey. By the third day, David's food was almost gone, and he was feeling weak. He needed to find something to eat. He remembered another survival skill. Look for edible plants and berries. Carefully, he picked some berries that he recognized as safe. They weren't much, but they gave him some energy. He also collected fresh water from the stream and used his shirt to filter out dirt. That night, he built another small shelter and tried to stay warm. I have to keep moving, he thought. I can't give up. On the fourth day, David saw something in the distance. A footprint. Someone else had been here recently. Excited, he followed the footprints, hoping they would lead to a trail or a road. After another hour of walking, he heard something that made his heart leap. A distant car engine. He hurried forward and finally reached a dirt road. Relieved, David waved his arms as a truck approached. The driver stopped and looked at him in surprise. "You okay, buddy?" the man asked. David nodded, exhausted but happy. "I got lost in the forest. Come on, let's get you some help." David climbed into the truck, feeling a mix of exhaustion and joy. He had survived. Epilogue. A lesson. Learned. After returning home, David told his friends and family about his experience. He had learned valuable lessons about nature, survival, and himself. From that day on, he always carried extra supplies, never left the trail, and respected the power of the wilderness. But most of all, he learned one important thing. Stay calm, stay smart, and never give up.